G'day. Welcome to another Nexus Gaming Series cast. Also, I do have to say thank you, Far Wellington, for the follow, and welcome to the stream. So, we do have a Division B East game this day. I do realize that it is a small E for East, and that makes me feel slightly uncomfortable. So let me just change it to a big, that's an R, that's an E for East. Right, that feels a little bit better now. So, map number 1. We do have what I do understand is going to be a good series. LTK Skyfall has been around a little bit now. They've done pretty well so far, I think. They were in Div B last season, but did pretty well. And Red Dragon was in Division C last season. I actually did play, well, I personally didn't play against them, but my team, Greg, did. They did pretty well in the end. They did have some kind of issues throughout the season where it was a little bit teething, but they came back, they have a good roster, and they will do actually pretty well this season. I do see that they could potentially be very good. So, that leads us to the series today, which I think should be actually quite a good one. I will talk about the kind of what happened and what we can expect a little bit, just because we do seem to be waiting on one. They are just having tech issues, so they will be back hopefully with us shortly. So, coin toss, LTK Skyfall won, and they chose map pick to start, which, fair enough, there so far has been a pretty good correlation between people choosing map pick and winning said series, winning said map. So we do see that went that, so Red Dragons banned out. Did Red Dragon win choose? I can't recall. Either way, we do see that, no, Red Dragons won and picked first pick. So we do see that LTK Skyfall banned out Volskaya, then we had Battlefield of Eternity banned out, then Sky Temple, then Tomb of the Spider Queen, and that leads us to, well, Cursed Hollow, which I do like Cursed Hollow a lot. It is one of my preferred maps, but I also like playing on big maps where I just get to run around and hit things a bit. Just ignore what my lobby pool is. I'm definitely not going to reveal what my heroes are before I even get to play a single game this season, because otherwise I won't get to have any fun this season. Which, honestly, is a common theme of people going, let's not let them play those heroes. They're annoying to play into. So we do have this map to start. I hope we get some exciting stuff. We did have some interesting compositions last night, and I'll be interested to see where we go today. Looks like people are just seeing if everyone is ready, so we should be getting into it shortly. I hope we get I'm just sitting here like I just want something something weird out of a box to start, especially because it was a very confident Cursed Hollow from the side of LTK Skyfall. They're like, yeah, this is the map we want. Which, fair enough, you know what you want, go at it, but it looks like the teams are ready. Good. So we shall be getting to this in a few moments. And they're counting down now, so thank you for following King Andrew. Countdown has gone. We are going to flip on over into the draft screen in a few moments. Can I time this right? The game really does like deciding when at its own time when it's going to start. But we do have Cursed Hollow up now, so let's get into it. And we see LTK chants going on in the chat. Right. Let's see what happens here. We do see that Zul'jin's banned out immediately. I don't know if it's as important this series just because it is this map, because it's such a big map, but hey, we don't know. Maybe someone who is just gonna pop off of Zul'jin no matter what happens. So, it's a pretty alright one to get rid of, especially if people are gonna run at each other. Bad number 1 for the side of Skyfall. What are we going to get? Brightwing. Fair enough. Brightwing is a pretty good all-round healer. Something that can cause issues for some teams, depending on what you're wanting. And banning it does allow you to get a bit more freedom in the backline if you want to play something more divey or a bit more Precarious. Not having to worry about polymorph is a very good situation to be in. I know. I can't believe it turned back on Red Dragons. We see Garrosh banned out next, so just getting rid of that big bad orc. What do we see after that? Maybe another healer, maybe a Falstad, maybe a Dahaka. Both of those are pretty good bans here if you want to get rid of that global value. And actually, no, we see Diablo banned out. Fair enough, Diablo is a pretty potent tank. Especially on this map, there is not really much room to work around him if you are in the entire areas around for chokes. Don't agree with that, Sam, and I believe they're equal. Equal teams. And we see Joanna picked up first. Joanna did make it through the ban phase and has rightfully been chosen first as one of those heroes you can prioritize. It is just the good all-round tank. So what will we have next is the question. I imagine we may see the tank hold come a little longer now for LTK. We may see... What am I thinking? Variants. We're probably going to get an interesting one here of Whitemane. Maybe it's maybe it's a Twin Blade variant. I don't know really what each player plays on the team. Oh, is Majesty the person I'm thinking of? Is your Majesty just Majesty in Discord? I do not know what everyone is. No, it is not. No, people have names and I have no clue what they are. We can see Anduin and Vala picked up, which we've got a reasonable all-round comp on both sides really currently. The main question mark is Whitemane, because we can see that potentially this Skyfall one is just going to be a blow-up type situation. Because Rono, a variant, it can be a taunt. I don't know if he's the tank player. He is the tank player, so it's probably a taunt variant, kind of blow-up style composition. We do see Dahaka is picked up. Well, banned out, I should say. Not picked up. He's picked for third ban, was what I went to say in... I went to say something else and just it came out of my mouth wrong. Which, fair enough. I do that sometimes. Sometimes I just say words and don't think about it. Head empty. Head so empty. And the Lost Vikings banned out, actually. Which, hey, it's one of those weird things that you can get thrown at you sometimes. Maybe you know there's a player around who does like TLV and you just don't want to deal with it. Which whoever's just sitting there going, I really wanted to play TLV, is just very sad right about now. And Ragnaros and Tassadar picked up. Definitely interesting ones. Ragnaros is one of those offlaners who's in a weird spot. They're considered, in general, in the lane, a little bit weaker in terms of fighting potential, but they really come online if you're picking up, once you hit those 10s. Lava Wave does a lot. Everyone does know its soaking potential, its D-push potential, its push potential. Pandemonium picks up Nazebo, and Hogger is picked up by Dizzy. I do know Pandemonium likes his Nazebo. It is something that I've seen them pick often. It's something that was banned out against them last season, actually, in NGS. I remember our team also banning it against them. And we see Greymane picked up last, so actually pretty good camp and boss taking potential by both sides. And we see Butte... wait, what? Okay, wait. Okay. Some switches on the side of Red Dragon. We see Butte Holiday on Joanna now, Dizzy on Anduin, and Lifscutoria on Vhogger. I never know if I say their name right or not, so I guess we'll have to see how that one goes. Right, that's count of draft. I'm going to run the opening, and I'll catch you guys on the other side of the loading screen. One day it'll be right. There's no way it was getting done that time because I started it after the load screen prepared and the load screen's still going. So it appears everyone's just loading more or less the same time. And then we're into it. So let's have a look, actually put down my water bottle and talk about the game, shall we? So on the left-hand side of, I guess we can make bets later. So on the left-hand side of LTK Skyfall, we do have Torquin on the Greymane Nyx on the... I thought I did update it, but thank you for pointing it out. Weird that it did that. Sorry about that.
10 seconds.
Oh, it came up with an error before. It wouldn't really be my stream without an error, but thank you for pointing that out, Serge. But otherwise, we do have Nyx on the Whitemane, Skyflare on the Tassadar, Your Majesty is on the Ragnaros, and Rono is on the Varian. On the right-hand side, we do have Butte Holiday on Joanna, Avinus on the Vala, Lifescutor, I never know how to say their name, on the Hogger. Pandemonium is on that Nazebo, and Dizzy Anduin. I would hope to see, I pray I see a Light Bomb Falling Sword. Probably not, but it would be fun to see. See Tassadar getting a cheeky little Q out from bottom, and I imagine that means we're going to see a Q build Tassadar. Yes, indeed it does. We've seen Nazebo already peeling off. But in terms of other stack talents, we do have that Q build Vala as well as Spider Nazebo, which, as people know, can end up pretty potent later in the game. And it looks like they are wanting to punish Pandemonium early on. Does manage to dodge the Q from Tassadar, so good stuff from them. And they step up a little bit too high. Well, Blue team has 0 CC for now. No? Okay, Sturge, if you are messing with me, I'm not going to be happy about that one. Can anyone really not hear me? Give me a moment. Because I'm going to check something. What is happening to my audio? Hold up. No, actually hear me. Okay, very concerned by that one. Right, we do see things are coming out. Damage coming up. Pandemonium is just going to have to slowly hold this back and make sure no one can hurt them. I'm very concerned if no one can actually hear me. Thank you, Father Wellington. Sturge, if you're scaring me like that, please no. Alright, we have rotations coming up. I'm going to refresh then. We see Ragnaros going down because I was too concerned about my audio not working. Right, but we do see Ragnaros has found Vala and Joanna sitting in an interesting spot. Although you can barely hear the game, that is fine. I'm just going to turn it up like that. I do wonder about that sometimes, that my levels may be off. But I have turned it up to see if that fixes it. There was a little technical issue I had the other day where actually last night, where I did need to switch things up a little, so there may have been an audio reset and some things. It's a bit hard for me to say for certain, so I'm just going to do a quick adjustment. Oh, I love when I have to do things with OBS and my games and things happen. But objective going to be called. We do see it is Taunt Variant as expected. Vala getting pretty stacked, so not as stacked so far because there has been quite a spread pre-stacks on that. Tassadar only at 30. We do see a little bit of a slap come out onto Joanna. Rono wanting to get it, but no, we do have a safe play here by the team. Keep in mind that now Bruce has been picked up by LTK Skyfall. Red Dragon may just take a little bit longer to deal with it. Pandemonium is the one in danger now. Rono going for them. They do get in the gate. There is the wall. We do see the blind come out. Now there's a Butte Holiday there with him. Skyflare actually taking a decent amount of damage. Double root coming out from Dizzy, Nyx, and Rono stop. Meanwhile, Your Majesty up above, channeling the objective, but will not get it as Joe walks up. A little bit of damage coming out onto Rono. And actually, it is a 3v5 here. You want to be leaving now if you're the side of Red Dragon. Dizzy is body blocked, and that will be Verasco going down. Avinus now getting what damage they can. Does roll Q. Well, Q, roll Q. Your Majesty running up. Does get a nice hit off. And no, that will not be them. However, Spider's thrown out, falling short. And without Anduin, this becomes a much harder time to push into. Butte Holiday just backing on up. We do see the taunt. We do see the stun. We do see that is a Varian going down. And Lifscutoria only just joining the team now. Rono goes down. Nyx was actually just channeling instead, and actually that's a nice roll, but Vala goes down instead. Nyx healing up the team, and that is Hogger down now. Pandemonium, the last one alive. Anduin actually on his way back does pull Pandemonium out of danger. Pandemonium sees if they can hit spiders, but ultimately will not do so. Meanwhile, talking Pandemonium is rotating in an interesting direction and will go down as well. Yep, you can't really do that when there's a Tassadar there who could just chuck a wall down as well as all that damage. Varian, keep in mind, did just reset, so they are coming back, but this is the continuation of quite a heavy push that was happening bottom. You can see now that they will continue pushing. And I don't know if Joanna alone can defend this. I think, well, we do need the rest of the team to rotate down to deal with it. But no, Butte Holiday has been left alone for a little bit too long. Just the rotation wasn't there. And this building is going to basically go down before the team can get here. We see Root only hitting Rono. Rono is forced out a little. But that fort's already down. It was a slow rotation from the rest of Red Dragon. And that is going to be the building down. Right, we do see now next objective coming up in a few moments. It may almost just be better for Red Dragon to give this one. They are a little bit down. There's not really too much they can do to step into this. And yep, we do see they're playing safe. They're just wanting to play that little bit of catch up because they need those 10s here. Just about, what, maybe 5 apes a level behind, maybe half a level behind by now. And Varian is starting boss. Actually, the whole of blue is going to be starting boss. And we do see now that heroics are up. We see the lava wave, which, honestly, not surprised. Taunt, as we see, was picked up a level 4. We see Curse Bullet. We see the... I can't even remember what that one's called. Divine Aegis, Scarlet Aegis, as well as Black Hole. We do have 10s earlier, however, as Red Dragons did start the objective when they... their own boss, when they did, they won't quite have to deal with too much extra. But they do now have a rough decision to make that there is a boss pushing bottom, but there's also the curse objective up. And that was, I guess, LTK's plan. See if you can get the boss going, get that building down. Yeah, they're just putting a hard amount of pressure top. And now your Majesty is in an awkward spot. Vala didn't quite hit the stun there, but they will still take down Ragnaros. And if you're Skyfall, you don't necessarily want to full commit to this, but you definitely want to see if you can slow things down. Avenus get the stun off, and they get out. Nope, there's no stun there, but they do already have the objective. It is a 4v4. We see that Hogger is on the wrong side wall. Does get a nice spin off. Does actually a decent amount of damage. So manages to go back into the wall. We see Blessed Shield coming out. Cleanse. Nice stun, but that is the Scarlet Aegis pull coming out onto Livscutoria. Avenus is dead. Pandemonium has only just joined the team. Doesn't quite the spiders. Zombie wall, however, splitting them. Will be forced out. Meanwhile, Hogger below, forced away from everyone else. That was a good kill onto Ragnaros. They did give the objective, and actually, boss defended pretty well. Only one tower and half the gate. Top one full tower, the whole full gate, and half the other tower. But now we're getting a push top as well. We do see Cursebot come out. We do hear that Iron Skin pop as everything's going out. Barely pushed out of the Hollywood Salvation. I saw it briefly protected, but that will be them going down at the end. And actually, I don't mind the Hollywood Salvation here. There's really, what? Taunt and Black Hole to interrupt your salvation. Right, we see Rono is stuck in the middle of things, of that white mane healing doing enough to keep him up. So ultimately, they're going to be fine, and that's exactly what you need if you are Red Dragon. That's exactly what you need if you're LTK Skyfall. So Red Dragon does have to kind of make a decision here about what they're going to do. They're holding here top, sure, but they're falling off a little bit elsewhere. Skyflare getting a point-blank Black Hole off, but they will go down to the building. And now we make a turnaround. Blessed Shield coming out. That is Varian and Torquin taunted. Well, actually stunned. Livscutoria getting a little bit high. Rono now for one of the firing line. Does actually ally dash to Nyx, which means they did pick up that level 10 of... I think it's not Juggernaut. Juggernaut's 13. Warbringer, so you can dash your allies as well. But meanwhile, we do see there's been a little fight going on bottom as Pandemonium and Your Majesty has been fighting. Pandemonium does get in time, but now between rock and a hard place of Rono and Your Majesty. Livscutoria now, however, is going to join. Falls just short. Hit Rono. Hit Rono. No. You could have killed him. You could at least fought him and scared him. But no, instead, Rono's going to just run up to you, taunt you, slap you a bit. But Hogger hasn't gone too far. We do see the peeling coming out. Falls a little bit short of Q, but it looks like there's going to be a full 5 members. thinking about what they want to do. And looks like Skyfall and Rono is what they want. Nice tested our wall. We do see that it is Black Hole Iron Skin coming out from Joanna, meaning that they don't quite hit by it, and we do see the Gargantuan drop. Let's Victoria getting relatively low. Rono now in the firing line. We do see that it is a taunt. However, that is the variant going down in the meantime. And now, honestly, if you're a Red Dragon, you may just want a hard push here. You may want to see if you can get that building to even it out. But no, it appears that there isn't quite that dedication to it. Your Majesty deciding, do I need to Molten Core or do I not? And it looks like no, they don't. But now, that was a bad time for Varian to die. We are coming up to that curse objective for both sides now. You may want your full 5 here if you're Red Dragons, because the 4v4s haven't gone as great so far. But without Varian, that is much harder to set. So I saw Pandemonium go this way again. I got very scared. Right, we do see Tassadar has been found. Holiday walking up, getting a nice stun off. We see a lot of damage. Blessed Shield not quite finding purchase, but we do see that the team is forced out. All while Dizzy has been channeling, and that's a quite easy objective actually over to the side of Red Dragon. They met the enemy team high. They were able to stop them from doing anything, and that's exactly what you need in these situations. You want to meet the team high. You want to make sure your channeler can't get interrupted, and it looks like it was done at an excellent time. Cleanse coming out actually right as Butte Holiday used the ability on Your Majesty. Want to make sure that Black Hole didn't fit anything. We do see Butte Holiday now in danger thanks to that Tassadar wall. Anduin has no pull. There's the pull from Anduin. It was indeed up. And now we can see the team chasing. Greymane jumps on. There is the root from Dizzy. Talking all while trying to chase, but no, we do see the Tassadar does take out Joanna in the end. And Greymane, I believe, is that move speed, so they're going to be very hard to shake. But no, we do see eventually Dizzy and Evanus get out, because in the meantime, while there are 5 members even, because we still Ragnaros' bottom, chasing the team, we do see all while Luscutoria and Pandemonium have been pushing. And this is going to make the structures a bit more even. It's what Red Dragon needed. Like, yeah, sure, losing your Joanna isn't ideal, to say the least. You're at least still got value elsewhere. You're behind on experience. You're now much closer in terms of that experience gap, but it's still something you need to work through. And we do see Hogger tries to roll out. There is the Anduin ult once again, a little bit short, but unfortunately Hogger did bounce the wrong way. Now we see Pandemonium struck between a rock and a hard place at fort, just kind of blocking them in, could be a bit of a wall. And we do see they're taking a lot of damage. Holiday gets blind out. Curse Bullet actually went out there, didn't quite find any target. And we do actually see Scarlet Aegis used as well. Rono nearly walks straight into that zombie wall, but honestly will be fine. In the end of the day, they did manage to escape its clutches. But now we can see the team going, what if Red Dragon's doing boss? We have a talent advantage. Honestly, if you are Red Dragon, you scout that bush, but no, we can see that now that this is not necessarily somewhere you want to be. Dizzy face checks first. You're not to go first. If you're the healer, you need your tank to go first, especially if you're Anduin. The one person you can't pull is yourself. Nexus is stuck in the zombie wall and will go down now. That's a trade of healers. And actually, this is now looking to be a good fight for Red Dragons. Red Dragons, even though they lost to Anduin early, managed to turn it around. And that boss may not have been the most cleanly of fought bosses, but it worked out. Red Dragons now actually, while still behind by a level, in a pretty good spot to push. There's no variant. Torquin is up. Butte Holiday does scout it, forces out the Greymane. Greymane gets hit by a shield from downtown. Luscutoria there to hit the bat on the head. Will hit the ball with that bat, and that is a dead Greymane. This is now quite a awkward situation if you're LTK Skyfall. You do need to use the Ragnaros straight, yes. That still isn't great for dealing with boss. Yeah, sure, it slows down the damage it will do to the actual building itself, but that's still a Molten Core that will go down relatively shortly. We do see the stun coming out. Luscutoria is in one trouble. We do see they hog spin to their death. They weren't able to escape that. So there is definitely a lot of interesting choices happening here from both teams, but they're doing well still. But we do see Black Hole coming out. Testa goes down, and there is... It is the first game of the season, I'll give both teams that. But there are definitely some moments where you're wondering, is that the right place to be and is it the right time? Which, sorry about my casting as well, a little bit tired today. But we do see Greymane does use Cursed Bullet. It does hit Evanus and it does do a decent amount. But yep, we do now see that Anduin is already, well, has already channeled the objective. Vala is maybe thinking about going to that camp here. We do see them getting the vision on the way through. And keep in mind, the only boss up currently is this one here, which it looks like the team of LTK Skyfall is having a good think about running at it. Similarly, we do also see Red Dragons going, maybe they're there as well, and they are going to scout it, sees no one's there. In all honesty, that means there's like only one thing out of left it maybe on, and we do see Butte Holiday does find it. Pop's Iron Skin is away from the rest of the team. We see Dizzy and Avernus trying to catch up. Cursed Bullet finding Pandemonium this time, and not quite what you want with Pandemonium. Butte Holiday sees Rono, Rono sees Butte Holiday. Right. We do see Avernus doing damage. Hogger is not with the team, is the important thing to note. It is a 5v4 down 20s if you're Red Dragons. We see Taunt coming out, we see Blazing Shield peeling. Nice stun, but you are still in a spot above it. Avernus has been left to go the wrong way. That maybe Vala going down. Dizzy trying to see if they can get around to pull them, but no, there is no pull, just a little bit too much distance between the two. In all honesty, they may just grab Tribute to make sure the other team can't, but looks like that Red Dragons are wanting, not Red Dragons, LTK Skyfall wanting to make sure that building just dies pretty quick, and we do see it goes down now. While Joanna has back so they can help defend. And I don't necessarily know if this is a good end call for the side of LTK Skyfall. Liscutoria does live that. You see Your Majesty drops the... Or as I say, drops the Molten Core, but now we are in an interesting spot where we do actually... fully uninterrupted Might of Stormwind. There we go, we see stun coming out. Skyflare actually got relatively low there. Nick stepping up. We see a Curse Bullet come out. Paul coming out onto Joanna. Joanna going to be alive. Meanwhile, we see Pandemonium getting dove on by Greymane underneath. Ragnaros did use that Submerge. They will get all that health back. There is the... I was going to say, there's the Anduin ult once again. And Butte Holiday steps back in. But no, we see Greymane goes down. The lava wave is coming through. And this is what was a... alright end call. Turned into a very scary one. Liscutoria, you are a bit too low to keep going in, bud. And we do see that as the case as we see 1 drop, 2 drop. Skyflare still alive, and now we can actually get an end call from Red Dragon. They may just boogie straight on top and hit that core, which the dev time is long enough. Honestly, you may want the rest to go up now, or maybe Hogger to have gone up now. But it looks like Butte Holiday just wants to capture it, and there won't actually be an end call. I expected there to be. Oh no, we do see they are going around. Yep. If you can get Skyflare here as well, you're in a very good spot to end. We see Liscutoria just running straight through a building. Skyflare does get hit. Roll Q, roll Q, roll Q, roll Q. Skyflare's dead. As you can see, this daisy chain of Caltrips around the building, but it looks like that will be the end call coming out now for Red Dragon, which they need to keep hitting this. Joanna's just getting back now, but the core is going to drop before the full force of LTK Skyfall can get there, and that'll be first game of the series going over to Red Dragons. GG Well Blades thrown out by Red Dragon. I do love good games like that. It is very fun to watch. So in terms of talents, stats to start with, let's have a look. Nazebo and Ragnaros very similar in terms of Siege and Soak. Ragnaros did edge it out both times, but they do have Lava Wave. On the other hand, we do see that Tassadar have most hero damage compared to Vala's, but the damage on the side of Red Dragon is nothing to scoff at, obviously, because they did get that win. There's a decent amount shared between each player, and that is really what you need if you are the team. You don't need all the damage under the sun, you just need enough damage to get the kills. And Red Dragons did indeed have that. And also, let me just, before I forget, tick this. Healing. Nyx did have the healing over Dizzy, but that is to be expected. Whitemane very good at healing by themselves. I do understand what LTK Skyfall was trying to run, but I don't know if Whitemane was necessarily the best. Because when it comes to your blow-up comp, you very much want a healer who can follow up on the Ragnaros, on the Varian, and just make sure they can't move after that taunt, and that can usually let Greymane or any mage paired with him die. But without that little bit extra bit of CC, we can see there are a few people who were able to survive when maybe they wouldn't been able to normally. But Anduin was picked after that, I should say, and that did very much help the team out. In terms of talents, let's have a look. Everything relatively standard here. I do like the pickup of Scarlet Aegis, actually. That did very well this game. I'm more of a the damage ult kind of guy, but I do recognize Aegis has its time and place, and actually Nyx found a pretty good time for it. Similarly, Anduin choosing Holy Word Salvation and then Light of Stormwind, or Might of Stormwind, or... yeah, Light of Stormwind. Excellent, because what? There is Variant Taunt and Tassadar Black Hole to interrupt it. Like, yeah, sure, it's just a little bit out of position a couple of times, but that was such a good use of Anduin ult that in that late game when it came out, there's not really too much to do to get around it. And that is absolutely ideal when you are Red Dragons. You did very well that game. So let me swap on over to my map view screen. I'm gonna mute myself for a slight moment as well, so bear with me. The last thing I want to do is give people ASMR of me drinking. Because that's just not fun. I know that's not for everyone. Some people love ASMR. Personally, I am not that kind of person who likes it. But once again, we do see map pick by LTK. And it is... I really should need to change it to say it 6 times this season. But I have a game I play myself of how many times can I cast Infernal Shrines in this one season, and so far it's 2 out of 3 times. I'll be interested to see across the cast I do cast how consistent that stands, but it is definitely yet another map. Iktar, I know I messed it up. But we do have Infernal. I never stated I was good at spelling. I can talk, but I'm not good at spelling. I'm definitely more a math person than a English person, to say the least. And I'm not even good at maths either. I'm also bad at that. So, Infernal Shrines, we do have the momentum over the Red Dragons currently, so it'll be interesting to see what LTK Skyfall can do to bring themselves back in it, because they were looking pretty good a lot of that game. They got an early fort, they had a boss pushing, they actually got a decent amount of value bottom early, but Red Dragon was able to counteract that and come back into the late game. I'm also going to put caster as ready just to see if we can kick things off. Yeah, it is indeed the 6th Infernal Shrines. Rumor has it, next week there's at least going to be a 7th. Terrifying, isn't it? And hopefully I won't get to a high enough number where it gets into the 70s and 80s of Infernal Shrines, because I may lose my mind. Because I think anyone who has been here every now and again knows that I have casted Infernal Shrines probably the most out of any game, any map. It is basically there more or less most of the time. Right. I think I've hurt Iktar with how that sentence is spelled. And it's literally all it is. It's just missing times. If it had 6 times this season, Iktar would be fine. It would probably even be a reasonable sentence if I put a full stop at the end. But this is far funnier having it this way. We are getting a countdown, so we will be starting it up in a few moments and see where map 2 takes us with Infernal Shrines. I'm going to imagine we see a Hogger ban. Hogger is very good on this map. Similarly, we may... I don't know if we'll see Naz ban, Joe ban, maybe we see... What else was there last map? I'm horrible at remembering, but we're in Infernal Shrines. Let me swap on over to the draft. I've been made in part of a lobby that is awkward to say the least. Did someone make me a referee? I'm just checking like if someone hasn't accidentally put me in game. No, I think I'm referee as opposed to observer this time, so that's a little bit awkward. Right. Zul'jin banned out once again. On this map, yeah, that's a bit more reasonable. You do have a lot more fighting this map, especially around your rotations, where you're actually pretty close a lot of the time. And also when it comes to the objective fight, those W's can do pretty well. The auto attacks can all while stack and get you more and more scaled. Do we see a Hogger ban? Skyfall. Okay, I figured out. I think I figured out who the Zul'jin player is, everyone. I think I figured it out. We see Hogger is going to be banned out, which, fair. The Hogger did very well last game. You don't want him to do well again this game. Lives Scutoria with the white man laughing emote, which I do like. Next ban, Garrosh again, I imagine. There's no way you let that in multiple times, right? Garrosh banned out once again. So, are we going to get Joe banned, Brightwing banned potentially? Do we see Vala banned out? Vala's always a problem on this one. Especially go W build, that gets a bit nutty. Tassadar can do well. Like, there's a few mages that's available, a few offlaners still available that you just don't want to deal with necessarily if you're on this map. But note, we see Diablo banned out once again, which, yeah, I like the Fire Lizard ban. Once again, he gets pretty good value around the objective. There's just a bunch of walls and a central pillar that you can also stun people on. So are we going to see Joanna? Is my big question to myself. Oh. Sorry, I'm also quite tired. When it gets like those sunny summer afternoons, it is quite, it gets quite warm. I just want to have a nap. I'm kind of like a cat, just a really big cat. Don't take me out. But no, I do like sleeping in the sun. I'm a good nap person. I love a good nap. Even though I know I shouldn't, it is like one of those days where like it's warm and sunny. I could. And I think that's important. Just knowing when you could nap. Right, what are we going to see next? Because we have a Leoric picked up early, which reasonable actually in this instance. You don't want to really give up your offlaners. But we do see Phoenix and Stukov picked up, which if you're a Leoric, maybe you want to change it up so you're double soaking. Because you don't necessarily want to be in a fight with Phoenix for all that long. But it could also be a 4-man Phoenix instead of like Zul'jin or Raynor. You're getting that Phoenix instead, which big hitbox, but not really too big concern. And meanwhile, Stukov picked up, horrifying to play with on this map, I should say. Playing with, great, but we see Joanna picked up and Tyrande picked up this time. I do like a good Tyrande pick. It is sometimes a little bit harder to pull off, especially if you're solo healing with it, but it is at least a fun one to do so on. Zarya ban, Vala ban, both decent. Because we've seen a lot of actually hypercarry Vala recently with Zarya as well. It's been interesting seeing. I've seen that maybe 2 maps in a row, 2 series in a row yesterday. Not even the same team, but we do see Vala banned out. They're wanting to get rid of that hypercarry style assassin. Meanwhile, on the other side, they are going to have a little bit of think as well. We see it spinning. What is they going to ban? Varian, so not wanting to deal with a block, which with Stukov is a lot scarier. Stukov meaning you can't use ability scare afterwards. Yikes. And especially when you're running a Tyrande who doesn't have that Anduin life pool available to them, it gets much harder as well. So Torquin, Rono, and Majesty, what are you thinking? Maybe we see a ETC? Ragnaros once again. Fair enough. And Torquin maybe is picking here? Mephisto. Mephisto is a good one. Kind of invalidates double healing if that was their thing they're wanting to run. And also gets rid of
Here we go again.
Chromie, okay. And Tychus. Pretty good heroes out the back there, so we do just have the tank left for Skyfall. What are we gonna see? My money's on ETC. I expect ETC fully. But it could very much be a Nubarak. It could be a Mal'Ganis. Oh, sorry about yawning. May even. May is actually pretty good on this objective. Has pretty good control. But nope, we see a main tank Blaze. It's not often you see Blaze as a main tank anymore. Definitely he's run more in the offlane. Who knows? It could be main tank Ragnaros, which may be a horrible idea, but I do like Blaze in the offlane more than the tank. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Right. Should be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to throw it over to the... I'm going to run the opening. I'm going to be right back in just a few moments. So we'll see you on the other side of things. Good luck to both teams for this round. That just looked like it was way too loud. Compared to the game, that looks like it was so much louder, so sorry if anyone goes deaf, went deaf there. I will need to keep an eye on that as well, because game audio and the audio for that is on the same track, and I do have my game audio a little bit lower for me as well, because I have sensitive ears. I don't want to hurt my own ears. But right, we do have both teams loaded into the game now. On the side of Red Dragons, we have Butte Holiday back on Joanna, Dizzy with that bug. Running on their mount is Duranda. Pandemonium is on the Tychus. Lifscutoria on the Ghost Man. Leoric and Evanis is on Chromie, the Time Dragon. Neo Torquin is on that Mephisto. Skyflare on the Phoenix, Your Majesty. Ragnaros Rono is on the Blaze, and Nyx rounding the team out on that Stukov on top of a very fabulous mount. And Alad hit too. GG. That is already a slight advantage over to Red Dragons. Everyone knows if you get hit by the Owl at the beginning, that is a curse, so to speak. Lifscutoria is already going to take a decent amount of damage. Nice stun by Butte Holiday. Dizzy not quite finding anything with theirs. We do see Owl bouncing on through. Pandemonium in danger. Does get good slap by Nyx, but ultimately will be fine. Going to bring talents up below. We see Torquin actually getting very aggressive. Even with their teleport, it wasn't quite a short one. They are Skull Missile builds, so will be doing a lot of damage into that later game. They're getting a lot of resets. We've been ARAMing for a while. No one went bottom. We do see that Lifscutoria is only just rotating top now. And all the while, stacking has been happening. We have Globes on the Blaze, who is very aggressively holding, but no damage with them. As well as we do see the Skull Missile on the... Wait. Unyielding Power, I believe a talent's called, on that Mephisto. On the other side, we do have Deep Breathing Chromie, which, as they get stacked, will be doing much better. Because it just lowers the cooldown, lowers the damage it does. It means you can use it for both Wave Flare and Hero damage. But now we can see your camp ping coming out. Butte Holiday is going to be holding nearby them. No, they will be making sure no invasion does happen. Nyx does scout them. The blind from Butte Holiday scouts the other team, but now Rono's going, maybe we can go there. Nope, a little bit too late as the team finds the camp. So the main thing I've noted in both these games so far is that Skyfall has been a little bit tighter in the early game. You can see that they were on that camp pretty quickly. They managed to get enough of an advantage experience and camp and rotation wise that they were able to grab that bottom camp without really any contesting coming out from Red Dragon. You see Rono in an awkward spot. Evanis, however, having to back out. The silence pull going directly under Rono. Evanis low. Torquin wanting it. Nyx gets it, and that looks like it was with a bio kill switch. A reactor ballista spore activation, I should say, and that's 2 quick kills now for the side of Red Dragon for LTK Skyfall onto Red Dragon, and that is less than ideal if you are those dragons. Right, we just see Butte Holiday clearing that camp. This top left one now being taken by LTK Skyfall, and you probably need to start your own one soon if you're Red Dragons, but it may just be a little bit too late. No, we're getting assist pings coming out as it is going to get started. Yeah, that's the problem. If you're Skyfall, you don't know how much time you have until this is capped. Because, yeah, sure, it was started quite late, but Evanis and Pandemonium weren't showing a wave up at any point before then. Owl hits Nyx directly in the head. But no, we'd see now there's going to be that positioning coming through for the objective. And you really do need to go W build Chromie on this map if you are running Chromie, because they are such a hard one to use around the objective with your sand build. It gets much easier when you go... What's the word I'm looking for? It gets much easier when you do indeed go over piercing sands, but that's still not for another 12 levels. And all the while, you do need to deal with objective, and you are down numbers now. You have bot being dealt with, you have top wing being dealt with. You probably need to back out if you're Red Dragon. This is very likely the objective for Skyfall, and there may be a little bit of frustration there as they do just get to safety. But as I said, typically we see the early game has been a little bit better for Skyfall than it has been for Red Dragon, and it may just be comfort on maps. It's hard to tell. Right, we do see that Butte Holiday is trying to get the Punisher to jump. They don't quite, it is stuck in the wall. It can't move anywhere. It is indeed stuck. Torquin taking a decent amount. Blind coming out from Joanna. There comes the actual jump. Holiday actually getting stunned before they can get out, and that will be them going down. Dizzy struggling a little bit to keep up with that Tyrande currently. And that is not what you want to see if you are Tyrande. Victoria is coming up. That Punisher goes down now. See, they are the ones in danger. Gets out with barely any health. Skyflare wants it, but Skyflare cannot have it. In fact, they almost took their own death at that moment. And now we see Avernus and Pandemonium doing their best to hold on, but that may be a building they need to now give. Owl flying its way through, barely hitting the Mephisto. As we do now see, Butte Holiday is here as well to help bolster the defenses of Red Dragons. Are they Red Dragon or Red Dragons? I think I was like, I've spelt many things wrong this stream. Right, Torquin did end up going back. We do see a nice little split by Pandemonium and Avernus. But we meanwhile see Torquin low down here. There needs to be damage on them like immediately. Does get hit by the first Chromie W, but Chromie, however, taken out by those reactive ballista spores. Nyx turning out to be very good in their utilization of that button. All the while, bottom camp was taken by Skyflare, and the Eternal Conflict continues top as Victoria and Your Majesty play a bit safe. They go, actually, you know what? Not worth. Not a me problem. Right, both teams are... Oh, apparently not yawning. Gosh, I really do want a nap. You do see a nice owl coming through, hitting Torquin and Rono, so they know the team is there. But, much like last game, Skyfall is closer to level 10s than Red Dragons. So, they do need to play a little bit safe, and need to play a little bit passive. What's that bird just holding there? Weird. Pandemonium in danger, does stop, and just miniguns Rono directly in the face. 10s have now come through. Keep it in mind, Vera's the bunker, Vera's the stun. We do see that they're going to be backing out, and Rono does get slapped in the butt with some sand. Is it honestly going to be fun yet? No, it is insane that Rono was able to get in there, get that kill, and get back out relatively safely. This camp now being cleared by Red Dragons, and actually there are a few heroic choices there that didn't find a kill. And we can see that Leoric goes down, and actually Sulfurous Smash was used to get it. Farouk coming out, Joanna has no Iron Skin available. Rono barely falls short of Butte Holiday. Let me just get rid of that chat. Those immediately. Let's just delete. And yeah, that one as well can be deleted. They can go right off. And now we do have things coming out. Nice stuns coming out for Starfall directly on top. Nexus is now in danger. Goes down. Gets taken out by Pandemonium's auto attack. And once again, we're in the same position. Butte Holiday actually relatively low. And we see 3 kills now for the side of Red Dragon. And that is somewhere you want to be. Oh, we do here. Entomb try to be used, but didn't quite find anything. Now you have a Comedy Odin used. Unfortunately, you did use it there, so you won't have it for the objective, but we will see a little bit of siege coming out bottom. Ragnaros runs up, slaps the ground with his hammer, and leaves. Right, let's have a look at 10s real quick, as I have not actually touched on them. We do have that meme beam from Phoenix, that Planet Cracker. We do also have Ragnaros' Sulfurous Smash, Cooldown Bunker, Endurance of Hate, and last but not least, Flailing Swipes from the Stukov on the side of LTK Skyfall. Now, on the other side, we do have the Entomb on Leoric, which Entomb is almost already back. Similarly, Blazed Shield is almost back as well. Rewind Chromie, the Lunar Flare, Starfall. Yep, Starfall, Tyrande, I've made some mistakes so much, and the Comedy Odin Tigers, which is still a little bit off. Right, we do see the damage is coming out. That is Entomb. Rono is in danger. There is a direct load of ults directly on top of Leoric, but Western Shield comes out. Pandemonium dashes and unable to live. Dizzy actually gets found by Mephisto's Skull Missile as well. And what was looking to be like a turnaround at Red Dragon of those 10s did not quite turn out the same way here, as we do see it was a 3-4 none, actually, as LTK Skyfall decisively wins that team fight. Right, both teams now will be running at each other. Rono was like, oh, when's Liscutoria gonna respawn? That looks like a stunnable target. But no, it is not quite a stunnable target yet. Now it is a stunnable target, as we see they are going to be taking a decent amount of damage, all while Skyflare is just peppering them from underneath. And there is that Punisher. You may want Liscutoria here to take the jump. Be ready to Wraith form, because that Punisher's eventually going to find you. There it is. He's taking a lot of damage. E, get out. Going out the long way as they go all the way down here. Bucket misses Rono. Rono will be fine. And we do see Punisher punching the building. The Durance of Hate finding Dizzy at the back. And now we can see once again that is a Planet Cracker through. Avernus low, barely kiting it. And we see Butte Holiday running up and away from the team. Nice ice block by Avernus. That timeout does a lot. But no, Stukov finds the kill in the end. This Stukov's actually doing work with him. Nyx is doing well. Meanwhile, Butte Holiday half away just above the team. They got out fine. Skyflare nearly got taken out there, actually. One owl hit, and they were dead. Right, Frozen Punisher does get jumped by Butte Holiday and will go down. They did get 4, yes, and 1 tower of the building, but considering the deaths that come through, that could have been worse. Speaking of deaths coming through, Liscutoria is now the one in danger. Gets hit by the stun, but the blind coming out for Butte Holiday at the right time, meaning they get to live. And Rono, now one in danger, barely holds out long enough to not get stunned. Entomb coming out onto them. Rono in danger. We see the Lunar Flare directly on top. They'll be going down. Skyflare following soon after. And there we see Torquin getting one last teleport before their inevitable demise. And if you're the side of, yep, I was going to say, if you're the side of Red Dragons, you run it via camp and you get it. That is your camp now. They can't step in. They're missing their tank. They're missing their damage dealers. Yeah, sure, Stukov does a lot with his silence and such. But that is still damage that you have. And oh, we have Bio Explosion Switch? Is that the level? Oh, it's Pop and Pustules at level 13. Bio Explosion Switch. Oh, Majesty, that's not where you want to be. Pandemonium out of the range of Sulfura Smash. Sulfura Smash went with a fade away. But no, they didn't quite get it. And actually, yeah, push if you are the red team. Push, push, push. As well, Nyx is very good at the Stukov. It is not the easiest thing to hold alone. Rono goes for the stun, actually hits 2, hits 3. That Mean Beam going directly through, and now that will be most of the team of Red Dragon just running out to the side to safety. Grenade fighting Torquin, and they will be fine. Right, they should know where they are. Chromie's sands do reveal quite a bit when they're shot and they're out of sight. Because you can figure out, yeah, that's generally going towards that camp, but no, we do see everyone converging bottom. Meanwhile, Leoric is pushing top. They just got a little bit of time just to themselves, just to chill a bit, relax, hit building, play a PvE adventure. I do love PvE games. But we do now see bottom that the PvP game is still going on. Also, there is now PvP going on top, as Ragnaros did meet him. Pandemonium is mid load, and actually we can see a trade. Both offlaners down at the same time, a 1-for-1, and that is a rare occurrence, to say the least. We see that Pandemonium is in danger. Blessed Shield peeling well, and actually that is Skyflare going down now. Flaming Sight's a little bit too late. We can see a second kill as Avernus directly drops the sands on top of their heads. Liscutoria getting a slow, getting a drain. They will be back sooner than Ragnaros will, thanks to that. We can see Butte Holiday wanting the Stukov, who has been the bane of their team's existence. There is the rewind. We see the damage coming out. Nyx can't survive that. There'll be them going down. Meanwhile, Torquin in danger. Dizzy has to break before Pandemonium. You are the one getting targeted by it now. And Mephisto goes down just before Pandemonium can. Pandemonium a little bit scared. Will half below them. And what again? We're in a similar spot. As last map. Skyfall had a good start. But then when we got to this mid to late game, Red Dragon started taking over. By no means is it going to be a... It's definitely one team over the other at this point, but we're still in a situation where we may see history repeat itself. And now we can see Liscutoria making their way to start the objective. I also want to note that objective hasn't been bottom yet. It went top, it went mid, top, mid. It hasn't even bothered touching this. And you see, I was like, who was there? But Butte Holiday was holding aggressive positioning, make sure no one can be seen. So the teams are getting ready. We see an owl. Did not hit Phoenix. Damn. Blind coming out does slow down rotation from them. But now we can see this is the first objective that Red Dragons are actually comfortable with. They have a comfortable lead here. Meanwhile, we see Rono and Skyfall hitting bottom. Want to see what we can do there. Stukov not long after them as well. But this is not necessarily a good trade. Because this Punisher may actually get keep here. And your fort for keep isn't necessarily a good idea. You see Tyrande hits it out directly onto Rono. Didn't find Skyfall with it, but that is ultimately fine. This fort goes down anyway to the most minions, I'm 99% sure. But now we do have the gates being crashed upon. And they will get that off in time. Nice hammer, but we do see, as I say, Sulfurous needs to come out. Pandemonium does get directly on top of Scutoria, splitting the team, but Pandemora will go down. Bunker drop to the middle of the enemy teams. We can see Rono now is in danger. Nice by Avernus. Stun does hit Scutoria, but ultimately won't find the kill onto them. Meanwhile, Punisher has been pulled directly below the core itself, so actually not doing too much damage. Scutoria backing out relatively low. We see the Meatball running after them. 20 health left on them, but they will live on. And we do now see 18 through both sides, and Chromie does indeed have those piercing sands. They didn't bother going with the... Okay. They didn't bother going with the double rewind as... Yeah, it's a good ability, but sometimes it is a little bit overkill. The piercing sands, however, almost needed on this map, especially around the actual shrines themselves, as it is a lot harder to find the targets you need if you're hitting the first skeleton every single time. Right, Avernus and Dizzy just holding a little bit higher than their tank. Butte Holiday wanting to be under it by the looks of it, but it looks like what Red Dragons wants. We see the Hourglass coming up. Majesty taking a lot. Nyx as well. Where's Shield from downtown, maybe? Nope, Western Shield up in just a few moments. Nice stun. We see the Unstock coming out from both tanks. Blind coming out nice. Rewind actually on the Mephisto's Ghost, but Joanna's the one hit with the Mephisto's Durance of 8. But rest of the team managed to dodge it. Meanwhile, Skyflare is above. Good pull by Butte Holiday. Rono not able to get a full charge animation off. And we do see now damage coming out. Starfall is actually doing a lot for these fights. And Leoric is here now. Nice stun. Torquin relatively low. Rono is actually the one going to be in danger. Vera's the Ragnaros Sulfura Smash directly on top. Life Scutoria does hit Torquin. Torquin does use the Ghost form to get out of danger, but that's only temporary. Now we can see Pandemonium has found Skyflare, and probably what's the worst position for Skyflare to be in. Blind coming out, meaning Pandemonium won't be taking damage, and that is them down. Meanwhile, Nyx getting that bio... Nyx is doing so well on the Stukov. They are killing 3 people now. Nyx actually carrying that team fight and actually turns around. And that will be a triple kill for the healer. But I don't know between these two they can end. They can definitely get building, but I don't think they can end. But well done there, Nyx, with that Stukov play. That Pop and Bustles does so well, actually. They are also bio-explosions, so this is a lot of damage, to say the least. Scutoria is coming back now. This is not necessarily where you want to be if you're the enemy team. Because when there's no one up, that's fine. But when there is even one up, that becomes much scarier. And we see Ragnaros is stuck. The silence coming out underneath. And Ragnaros was actually just outside the radius of the fort. Scutoria, have you not learned from what your team learned? They do get up far enough. We do see they won't be going down just yet, but they can't really hold on to this building anymore. And the building will go down. And oh wow, that Scutoria was just getting bullied a little bit. It was quite hard for them to do anything into both the Stukov and the Ragnaros. They did try their best, but that little scuffle in this area in particular was just a little bit too much to deal with. Turns out I'm going to open up Show Lotus Level 20s again, because we actually see Shade Lord on Mephisto, so they won't always be going back to where they teleport from. Rono is an awkward spot, does get body blocked in. They do need drop bunker. They do have a Planet Cracker coming straight through that little line, but it isn't the Planet Cracker update. But it is the death onto Blaze, and once again we're getting these big team fights where it seems to go into the favor of Red Dragons each time. They get 3 quick kills as Blaze is caught a little bit early. Swipe coming out onto Your Majesty. Your Majesty slowed a little bit, does have a lava wave to speed themselves up. Butte Holiday trying to see if they can catch up to it in Pandemonium. That is an owl hit. That is the hit you need. Ragnaros uses Submerge, but will they be able to Submerge any longer? No, they won't. They pop out. The shield coming out. Nice stun from the healer once again. And we do see now that it is full 5 men. Oh, cool. They're not full, but they are at least all here. Butte Holiday taking the shots. Do they choose to end? No, they back out. I guess it is that Dizzy isn't on the strongest of healers. Like, yeah, sure, the healer does a lot. It is a very good kit in terms of utility by the Tyrande, but it's quite hard for them to physically do more healing. And you're basically also constantly just, I'd say, there's a lot of counters here, but we see that Tank has gone deal back with them. All the while objective being done by Skyfall. Also, ow, does hit Skyfall directly on the head. Also, this is Red Dragons, not Skyfall. I am dumb. Anyway, we do have Camp being taken bottom, Camp being taken top right. Skyfall eventually getting down. There is the Frozen Punisher. If that is a good Punisher to get right now, that's a really good Punisher to get right now. Keep in mind, Ragnaros is only just respawning, but everyone is making their way back down bottom. Punisher getting its punching off is going to get through that very shortly. And we do now see that it's a very big split for the team. Torquid actually in an interesting spot. And we can see that Dizzy's a little bit aware of what's happening. As we can see, they want that counter pressure. They want something to slow down. They want something to mean that their camp can actually push. And we see Lift's Cutoria is halving to make sure to deal with it. But no, they actually think about staying. No, they are still going to half. Big red button push. Pandemonium does have that Comedy Odin back up after the first fight. Everyone manages to dodge Ragnaros's... I did not realize you could make the little Ragnaros. Right, Torquid is in an awkward spot once again. Doesn't quite get hit. We do see him get out. Nice stun by Rono. And once again, we do see that Stukov doing a lot of damage, but that is the Tyrande going down first. Joanna leading the rest of the team away. Rono actually missing their charge, but Joanna is down in the meantime. Pandemonium Avenus just running. We see Avenus catch himself. Pandemonium should just leave. They should not turn to do that. Oh, they don't quite find Nyx, and Your Majesty actually relatively low as well. Pandemonium just bobbing and weaving, seeing what they do. They do mount, but no, you can't do that around a Stukov. And that is the Bio Explosion. No. No, I was about to call it the wrong thing again. Reactor Blister Spores popped, and we can see that the Tychus did go down there. Lift's Cutoria now has a big task ahead of him that they do need to defend against the four-man of Skyfall as, well, Mephisto didn't actually join. Nice stun, but no, that won't quite be enough. They do try with that Entomb, but this looks like it may be all she wrote for this team fight here, as that court is quickly dropping the holiday, calling GG. I believe they know their time's up. Torquid does join at the end, and that is the second map of the series going over the side of LTK Skyfall. Good round. I nearly pushed the wrong button entirely, which was a mistake. I nearly clicked end stream, which is an impressive thing to accidentally push. That's not really what I want to do, but we can see Nyx. I want to talk about Nyx here. I want to highlight Nyx. Nyx absolutely popped off here. 48k damage, 122k healing. That is insane. Otherwise, we do see, in terms of Soak, Ragnaros, and Leoric, relatively close. Only 3k difference. Same for the actual... Sorry, Siege, 3k difference. Soak, 1k difference. Both pretty close. Chromie did a lot of damage. Ragnaros actually have the most for the side of... for the side of LTK Skyfall, but pretty even damage across the board there. Also, welcome War. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, sometimes it's not really about how much damage you can do in that early game. Really, this fell to the same thing that happened last game, where you don't really need to do all the damage under the sun. You just need to do enough damage to get the kills. But yeah, I don't know if Nyx gets that Stukov again, but then they do need to still ban out for Ragnaros and Zul'jin, so maybe Nyx does get it again. But definitely it's something Red Dragons needs to be more careful about this time, as it was a lot to deal with. So just to show talents, if anyone's interested in how Nyx did that, it is the traits build. Not something you see often, but it was definitely working out for them. Especially long pitch was the interesting one to me. It's not something you see often, but it did work out. Other things to note, Durance, yep. Everything else makes sense. Interesting to see big red button when you're going W, that overkill build, because you typically see overkill at the 20 as well. That does help you get that just consistent damage up. Yeah, that's kind of the main things to note. Just Tyrande was struggling to keep up a little bit. They still did 87k healing, 48k damage, but there's just a little bit too much for them to get fully through. Right. And the end, I should say. Just, she does have good healing of any given moment, but sometimes it's not as easy for her to do things. Does that even show if I do that? It does barely show if I do that, huh? Right, let's change it over to the map view screen and we'll have a look at what happens next, but we don't quite have a map yet. Right, what shall we expect is the question. I do not know is the answer. Will Red Dragon's map pick here? LTK Skyfall picked for the last two. Will Red Dragon pick this one, or is it going to be map pick to Skyfall every single time? I'm curious about that. I just keep looking at Stukov and how well they did that game. That is one of the most high performing Stukovs I've seen in a while. That's where it comes to that. Ballista Spores is a very much a skill cap. It's really a higher skill ceiling than a lot of the other talents that he has. So yeah, E-Build does well. And E-Build can get a lot done. But sorry about that. But very much it is something that E-Build is pretty standard across the board for a reason. It's pretty strong. But I do like the build that Nexus is running here, and I'm actually save to build free. I'm going to keep that one in mind for later. What I'm going to do is, while we have things going on, I'm going to run a quick ad. I'll be right back. I just need to quickly use the bathroom, but we'll see how we go after. See what if we have a map after that. So see you soon. I'm back once again at pretty good timing. So we don't quite have what am I looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? We don't quite have a map yet, so we are just gonna be chilling a little bit longer. Thank God I did give it that 1 minute, because man, I do like having everything ready to go. So I guess the teams are just deliberating? Deliberating? Yeah, I think that's the right word. About what they want to see next. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I wanted to see this map today. Brax's Holdout, let's go! Let's open it up and see what team picked map. And it looks like that it was a map pick by LTK Skyfall. This could go either way. This is a very interesting spot where it can go either way. I don't know about Braxis. Braxis is always really kind of an unknown quantity for me. Very much, I think the bans are going to be the same. If you are Red Dragons, don't let the Garrosh through. Don't let the Zul'jin through. You may just have to deal with the Tychus. It is unfortunate, and it is unfortunate with how they did, but you're going to have to deal with it again. Unless you want to deal with one of the other two, but those other two are a lot scarier, especially on this map where you are A, fighting constantly, and B, if you get thrown over that wall, that may be a death sentence for you. Because it is one of Garrosh's best maps. And I'll just say that cast is ready when everyone else is. Right, actually, I'll just wait and see when people finally put that in. I'll then push enter. So, Braxis Holdout. I do wonder if we're getting the same positions for each team. So there doesn't seem to be any subs once again. I imagine A, Zul'jin's going to disappear, as well as B, Diablo, C, Garrosh, D, I don't know. I don't know if the same bands all the way through. I don't know if you ban Hogger off of this map. Because it is just a map that is just harder for the offlane. It's one of the most important offlane maps. Sure, if you get a lot of value of it, good job you've done amazing. But you also need an offlane who can kind of clear quite well, which Hogger can, but into the Zerg wave he becomes a little bit weaker. Because Hogger either clears, well, he can clear always pretty well, but fighting is the question. I'm going to pop in that ready and see if that can move things into gear, but it should be an interesting one to watch, say the least. I know which way I'm hoping it goes, and that is a long, not blowing out, not a Praxis blow up, but still a good Praxis holdout. But yeah, it looks like everyone's ready. Nix is counting us in, and I'm going to get my mouse over here ready to swap things over to the draft screen, because I always time this wrong, because I'm very good at timing things wrong. So let's see where we go from here. Hopefully the team's going to put on a good last round. Right, first pick for Red Dragons once again. Zul'jin, Garrosh, one of these. Or are they considering the Stukov this time? We're in a bit that is very much pick your poison, but is Zul'jin first once again? They may even choose to take the Stukov first if they are Red Dragon, actually. Because you can Zul'jin, Garrosh, take Stukov. That's a pretty good spot if you're VM. It's very good on this map. The silence, even just silence build under the point is a problem. So what are we going to see here? Is it Hogger again? It's Joanna this time, so Butte Holiday will be forced off that Joanna. 2 times out of 3. It was a little bit too much for them because they were doing very well on it. What do we get next is the question. And, well, Garrosh, once again. Are we surprised? Anyone surprised at Garrosh being banned out 3rd time in a row? No, but you don't have to be if it works. Nix is annoyed. They haven't been respect banned by the looks of it. Fair enough. But it's probably, if I'm to hazard a guess, Stukov's about to be picked up. Don't know that for certain, but I feel like it is the case. Can't ban you all. Yep. Right. Right. Essentially that is the case, yeah. I think we're having a very good discussion, like, do we ban out with Stukov? Do we take a Stukov? But no, they look to pick Vala this time, which, pretty good hero for this map. Even that W or Q can both do well. Q with Monster Hunter can actually tear up those bigger Zerg. Either high Ultralisks or the Broodmothers in the back. I think they're Broodmothers. Are there something else? I don't know. StarCraft isn't really my strength per se. Meanwhile, the Zerglings can be dealt pretty well with the smaller Ws. We see Stukov picked up once again, and Varian picked up immediately. If you're looking at that blow up, they do get it this time. So it'll be interesting to watch here. And this was what they want to do first map. And I do wonder if the Tyrande was a correct choice. I'm thinking about, like, Tyrande was your intended choice right now. I guess I can ask them if they win after this, but very much both teams are probably good teams to have a chat with after this and just seeing their thoughts about things. I don't know if we'd see a Ragnaros again as like my big, maybe not that, but we do see Junkrat picked up, so we have both damage and the healer picked up on one side, the healer and the tank picked up on the other. So I guess we see a tank ban is my very loose guess about what's going to happen. Diablo, yep, banning the tank. Diablo was banned out in the first 2 rounds, may as well ban out again. But no, the Anduin pick did so well the first time, and once again, pull so good. There is a few more interrupts already this time around. Stukov, very good into it. Actually, Mephisto banned out. I do like that. I imagine we'll see Tassadar picked up. I imagine we won't see Ragnaros this time. It's quite hard to tell. We may just see something. You know what? It would actually be cool to see an offlane Phoenix. Get like an offlane Phoenix. Get a Tassadar. Get a Genji. Bob's your uncle. But we see Greymane and Orphea this time. A little bit lighter on the Zergquare. Skyfall can do well on it. They can do also very well on the camps as well, even early on. And that may be what Red Dragon realizes they have to contend with. And I think also LTK Skyfall realized they're doing typically better in the early game. So that may be why they chose Braxis. They've chosen a map that they can do better early on, and they can hopefully snowball for a victory off of that. Right, Butte Holiday and Lipsky Victoria, what are we going to do? We're going to get Kira and a Nubarak. So denying anything like a Rexar pick with that choice there from Lipsky Victoria. But it does leave it open to a few other things. Things that can outclear them, things that can just outdeal them. So what Artanis, do it. Do it, Majesty. Artanis, do it. It'd be funny. It'd be so funny. Do the Artanis. Do it. Leoric, pretty good choice as well. Has a creepy hand. Has the Q to deal with the waves. And looks like there may not be any swaps here. Things staying relatively straightforward for now. Only time will tell to see if that does differ as we get into the game, but no, it doesn't seem to be so. It should be a good third map of the series. I do like when we do get these free map series that are going to get pretty close, because, well, they're more fun for everyone involved. So, right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to roll the opening. I'm going to remember to turn down the game volume just to turn up almost immediately after, depending if it's too loud or not, but I'll see you guys in the game. Right, we're back. And once again, I started after the screen changed. We're back in now once the screen has changed. And I think I started with Red Dragon last time, so I'll start with LTK Skyfall this time. So good luck, have fun coming up from Butte. Oh, doesn't have to chat on what's happening. We have Your Majesty going top on that Leoric, and that's actually a nice color combination. That's a good one. That's good synergy. But we do also have Nyx on the Stukov. Torquin is on that Orphea. Skyfall? Was I really that going to be my choice of words? But Skyflare is on the
10 seconds.
Dog. Greymane and Rono is on the Varian this time. Meanwhile, we see Liscutoria is on that Kira. Dizzy, Anduin, Butte Holiday on the Anubarak. Avernus on the Pew Vala. And Pandemonium actually on Junkrat. Junkrat, one of the most annoying heroes to play into. We see Rono getting very aggressive early on. Pandemonium steps up a little bit too far. We see a full dive onto him. That Junkrat concussion mine, however, pushing Rono into an awkward spot. Pandemonium, more importantly, into a safe spot. And what was a good engage turned out to be a little bit scary for the team. But that does go to show, once this taunt combo, once taunt is up, this is going to be much scarier for the side of LTK. Much scarier for the side of LTK, because Red Dragon does have that damage just up front. Also, things to look into, we do have that Dread build at level 1, Growing Nightmare. If they hit 3 heroes at once, that will get 100% stronger. Yeah, 100% damage, plus 15% extra slow on E. I think so. We do have Vala stacking, and she's already stacking faster than that first game. And this is something you need to be scared of this game, because once Vala's engine gets running, it is going to be a hard one to get. And meanwhile, as I said, Skyflare is already immediately on that camp, as expected. Torquin is in danger. No, there is no stun by Butte Holiday. And the actual E doesn't quite find everyone there, but the damage constantly coming out. Nyx having to slowly deal with it. Their burst healing coming in at 4. And Skyflare does find their own camp, while Pandemonium and Avernus were considering starting their own, but decide to just be safe for now. We always see it's 4v3 bottom. Anduin is on his way back. Skyflare stepping up now. But they already got what they want from Injection. Skyflare pushing an awkward spot. Does get stunned by Butte Holiday. Second stun following up as well. The silence underneath them. Pandemonium a little bit too low. Will go down. But Butte Holiday as well. Barely holding on. 150 health. A lot of upfront damage if you are LTK Skyfall. Not really a great siege outside of Greymane, but a lot of upfront damage. Meanwhile, we do see Kira is having a little bit of a fun time into Your Majesty. The Teva coming out right as the unstop does, and you can see it did the awkward little thing, but didn't really go much further. Meanwhile, we do now have a 3v3 bottom, soon to be 4v3 as Junkrat rejoins for Frey, because, well, Greymane's doing camp. They may have to run away from this camp in a few moments, especially if they don't kill that properly, but Leoric is close enough to take over for them. They do roll out, ultimately it's going to be safe. And we just see Orphea goes down bottom because it's too busy watching Greymane, wondering will he, won't he on a camp. We do see that there is the Neo Peasants on Your Majesty. Lifscutorian in the meantime does give that camp. They'll probably need a half in a few moments. They're quite low on resources, unless they have tap up. But no, meanwhile we do also have just a push coming top. Imagine Nexus is going to get that damage out in a few moments. You see Taunt coming out. There's the W, there's the silence. And that is Butte Holiday dead. Dizzy went to go for a pull, but held it just a little bit too long that time. Meanwhile, Lifscutorian now has a lot to deal with top. They're not exactly known, Kira I should say, is not really known for their camp clearing potential. And nor is Majesty really going to let up on them, but they do see Lifscutoria is going to be getting an advantage slowly but surely. They are that auto attack build to do some amount of damage, but Leoric did hit the creepy hand, so it will not matter. And they do now see for the first time objective will be going over to LTK Skyfall, and Junkrat stepped up a little bit too far, goes down very quickly. And we can invade. Skyfall is going on to that Bruiser camp. Butte Holiday is in a fight with Your Majesty top. And if the drain hits, they're in trouble because there's not really too much Nubrak can do in these situations. Kira running down, does see the camp will get taken, does scouts the enemy, will probably wrap up. Butte Holiday now in danger, burrows in at worst time possible, right as the team collapses upon them. And there could have probably been a warning with Scutoria. Next doesn't quite find the slow that they probably want, but now we do see that it is a little bit lonely Rono bottom. Avernus considering chasing, but will channel the objective. The safer play in these instances. And now Leoric going for creepy hand, movement speed I believe at 4. And actually Kira goes down up here. It does move speed, that's right. And now we see a full rotation coming up. Leoric is now for one bottom. Skyfall staying a bit too long, but Butte Holiday making their way towards objective. Torquin has been found with a stun and a root. But we still have a dash charge up. Speaking of dashing, we see Skyfall jumping on in. All the while, the objective is channeling in favor of LTK Skyfall. People are staying a little bit too long. Pandemonium may be one in trouble, but no, if Taunt does not come out in time, Pandemonium will get to live. Important. Great. Exactly what you need if you're Pandemonium. And now we get a wholesale rotate coming down bottom for Red Dragon, while LTK Skyfall doesn't really have too much to deal with at the moment. Greymane can tear through it pretty quick. But meanwhile, as I said, going to be a little bit harder for Red Dragon to tear through this. They don't quite have the full clear that the other team has. Junkrat can do well, don't get me wrong, just he's not always amazing when it comes to these objectives. And Avernus did go the Q build at 1. They're also not Monster at 7, they're Frost Shot, so they'll be able to get a decent amount of value off of that damage when we come back to the objective phase. Well, rotation is coming top. Honestly, you may just want to counter push bot instead, but no, because we're going to be a little bit late coming top. Once again, we do see 2 members of Red Dragon coming up earlier than everyone else, and we can see that for Reza later. Butte Holiday going straight onto the circle, but Torquin is actually the one in danger here. We see they're running outwards, and they will not quite get to live as long as they like. They nearly got out of a vision range, but won't get given that luxury to actually fully get out alive. Do we just get a push here happening? No, we're getting a safe play once again. Very much I'm in the space mindset with, I'm like, Skyfall needs to solidify their positioning now. If they can get a building before 10s, that's when they thrive best into Red Dragons. Red Dragons, however, make it a hell to play into that. But actually, now I think about it, Butte Holiday picking up that Nubrak actually a pretty good choice because it stops Greymane, it stops Orphea, and more importantly, it stops the Stukov doing what Stukov's been doing so well recently. Nice pull coming out of Pandemonium. Pandemonium, however, get dozed upon by the Greymane. Greymane went with go for throat there. We heard it come out. Avernus rolls direct into silence, and then we see the angrier Orphea Chompy ult coming out as well. Eternal Feast. Another thing to note, we do have the it's dirty bathtub combo as we do see the Leoric did go that Entomb. We see a lot of stun coming out on Rono. Rono actually stuck under fort for a little bit longer than they like, but Skyfall is seeing if they can peel for it. Next getting that slow off once again. Flaming swipes, however, maybe not quite as useful that time. As you can see, the team is backing on out. Oh, see, the team of Red Dragons are backing on out. Rono stepping up a little bit too far. We see a nice stun coming out. And Stukov has nowhere to run. I was going to say, Junker had nowhere to run and went down. But Varian was traded meantime. That is not quite what you want to do if you have that momentum. Especially just for objective. You now have
Hero slain.
a little bit more fear in you when we're coming to this objective phase. Because you can have Butte Holiday and friends run out from Red Dragons. However, Butte Holiday does burrow underneath. Torquin pops at 65 spell armor. We see that is the Cocoon going out, but the rest of the team is, we've noticed a few times, just a little bit disjointed. Eliscutoria going on in. Torquin does get a fight off and will go down. We do see stun coming out. Once again, we're seeing the Hollywood Salvation coming out. Eliscutoria going in. Next getting relatively low. Gets taken up by the Q. Meanwhile, Your Majesty has respawned in the backline. Takes a decent amount of damage for their time there. We can now see that all 4 members alive of Red Dragon. Well, actually, I say that, but a new Brax come back now, but that is a good camp take. And Rono not quite wanting to tempt fate with that. 19 stacks already on Vala. That's a lot. See, Pandemonium is in danger. Butte Holiday is just around the corner, however. And that top was channeled by Kira, so we do have now a pretty good split for the team. Greyman's doing a camp. That means there is actually a lot of their damage missing. We see the backline being dove on. Torquin pushed a little bit out of position. Butte Holiday now is the one in danger of getting drained, getting slowed. We see Avernus is going to be dodging what they can. Butte Holiday goes all the way around, doesn't get hit by that E. But now we see Kira and Greymane joining the fight. So this is going to be a 4-on-5v5 going on down here. We see that, unfortunately, for Kira there in the wrong spot, does get the flaming swipe off. We can actually see it's Rocket Ride coming out. Greymane barely a little bit too far away, but now we can see Stukov has been left alone on the island. This is what I thought was going to happen when we found out that, when I saw the Greymane, and I saw the Stukov say at least, that more importantly, the new Brack, that Cocoon comes out, stop him from doing his healing, stop him from all the damage he's doing, and Nick suddenly, who was such a star last game, is getting shut down a little bit more this game and not able to do what they desire. Greymane, however, channeling top. Kira came up so they can defend this camp. They can make sure it doesn't get too far. Orphea we see riding on up top. But it looks like the side of Red Dragon just wants to even up the structure, so to speak, and make it so it's going to be a little bit harder for the team of Red Dragon. Skyfall to fight bottom. But meanwhile we see Eliscutoria in danger. Does dash out. Orphea hits for Q, but there's no flask, there's no other abilities. Eliscutoria gets out where they maybe should have died. Right, we're getting a lot of safe positioning here from both teams now. Varian checked boss for a brief moment, but no, it looks like they're not planning on doing it. Meanwhile, bottom camp is being picked up by the side of Red Dragons, and thank you for following. We will... The goat? I don't know. But now we see Eliscutoria once again on an island, gets a nice dash, but nope, not able to get through the bush. Pandemonium went, come here, there's traps here. But no, that will be them going down. Is Pandemonium trap build? No, the Q build actually. I don't actually hate it on this match. Thank you, Beach. Greatly appreciate it. Right, the teams are now trading out the objectives. It has been flipped in favor of Red Dragons. We're getting a very similar Zerg difference as last time. I think last time Red Dragon was at 68%, but this time it does appear that LTK Skyfall is going to be the one, once again, channeling over, and there's just a little bit more percentage. All those Beetles just running at Nyx, but Nyx doing so well. Pandemonium uses Rocket Ride. I don't know if they'll get on top of anyone. Nyx and Rono takes a decent amount. Skyflare has been found at bush. Skyflare getting stunned, and it looks like we may have had a disconnect. Just because Skyflare was standing still for an awfully long time. Now I'm looking at it. They entered the bush a while ago. I'm just watching a replay because there may have been quite a few seconds there like that. But Eliscutoria checks if everything is fine. And I'm just going to change back over to the map view screen for, performance issues and monetary issues. Yeah, looks like the monitor is good, but looks like they're going to be fine, so we may be getting back into it in just a few moments either way. Skyflare, however, is in a very awkward spot. I don't know what Skyflare can do to live this. I don't know what the team can do to help. That is not a position you necessarily want to be in if you are the Greymane. Because I think the team is chatting, Yeah, I think you're gonna die either way, no matter what happens here. Looks like the countdown's coming out. Nexus is looking for that pause button. Only I can unpause it. Sorry. Right, we do see the stun coming out. We do see Skyfall does actually have a roll. Stukov is put in the shell, but once again, Avanis does find a kill onto that Grey Man, and will go down next to him. Be best to swipe everyone away, but Rono is split. We do have full Zerg wave pushing. Red team can't really afford to just give away all that free Zerg clear, but we do see Torquin now is one in danger. Does dash into a wall. A little bit of an awkward spot, but will go down. Imagine Pandemonium will need it back immediately, as they are the majority of the clear for the side of Red Dragons. But now we actually have a sizable Zerg wave pushing in, and while Rono has been a star in terms of that hero damage, as we can see here, they do fall off a little bit when it comes to the Zerg clear itself, as most of their abilities come off damage onto heroes. As we can say, they have gone that same build once again. But note, they will be backing out. Greymane very good at clearing it in their own right. And meanwhile, we see top Zerg also down. Relatively, actually, even siege top. This is why I'm not used to being referee. I'm usually observer, so I don't have to unpause things. Which are not ideal for me, because I'm a simple man. I don't know when I'm meant to be doing things. But no, here we are. We're going to get a lot of posturing again. Boss is being checked out. Both teams are now just playing the game of let's stand around the boss and make sure nothing bad is going to happen. We do see traps down bottom and top. We do see that Rono has ran straight into it. But there is going to be a 5v4 if Red Dragons engage here. This is not necessarily a fight you want. But no, we can see the team is rotating up now. Kira realizing that they may be the ones in firing line. First time actually in a while, we do see that Red Dragons are the ones in the lead coming into the late game, 16 to 15. And Rono, once again, scouting boss, but they can see the traps on it. They don't necessarily want to deal with it. And boss, all the while, is going to be started while wave is getting cleared top. But I imagine they can see that there, and we can see the immediate turnaround of this. Boss is going to need to go down roughly 2 seconds ago as the team's pushing in. Dizzy gets the root. We see Rono now is the one in danger. They do step, so Liz Kutoria doesn't hit their E. The Holiday running downwards. We can see the silent, the Cocoon coming out onto the Greymane, the chomping jaws underneath. Torquin now the one in danger. Majesty low. Torquin low. Varian down. Nyx is now going to be spreading out. Look at all that damage they did. Or if they actually completed their quest. But Nyx is going to be one to die. Evan is falling just short with their heroic. And that's going to be them going down. And for anyone of those who missed it, Nyx is now like my favorite Stukov player. Nyx was actually insane last game. And yeah, I think Beautiful Holiday is right. We just need the rest of the team to join them. You can push with boss. You can get a decent amount of pressure with boss, but it looks like it's a little bit too late. Skyflare has been allowed to wail on it for a little bit. And we can see if the boss will at least get its cannons going. It does get that going. Archangel going down now. But it looks like the push will still continue. Kira, I imagine we may see her hit bottom immediately because they want to get that channel rolling as we get it. Orphea uses that Abyssal Chomp now. That Eternal Feast, actually, sorry, Abyssal Chomp is the other one. But they will get it. Lifscutoria is alone, grabs the sock. I imagine they'll need to be up with the team shortly. As well, it looks like we're going to get a 5v4 otherwise. And Kira is taking her sweet, sweet time. Right, both teams are now in position to fight. And that is a very dead Greymane on the other hand. That walking into the trap there, but we can see Cocoon comes out onto the Stukov. Stukov doesn't have a choice to get out of that one. Stukov does dodge a rocket right at least, but will be going down at the end. We see a nice Holy Word Salvation by Dizzy. That Anduin getting so much value. Rono is the one in danger. Does get a nice Q to heal them up, but we see Q from Avanis. And now there is a full Zerg wave to quite a small one in favor of Red Dragons. And fortunately, they got that fort down now. This may be curtain calls for the side of Skyfall, but we can't say that for certain. There is still respawns coming through. Greymane's up in a few moments, but it looks like There's going to be a full commit top by Red Dragons here, so Skyfall has a lot to deal with. We can see now, Abyssal Chomp actually takes out Junkrat. Not Abyssal Chomp. The Eternal Feast takes out Junkrat, just a little bit too low there, a little bit too greedy. And what may have been a position where you could have ended now if you're Red Dragons is maybe you just get keep and leave. Meanwhile, Zerg making its way down bottom. Right, coming back up top, we do see that the final strike comes through from Liscutoria. The building going down slowly, but there won't be a call to end this time. They will just back out. Nice slow by Skyflare. We do see that Liscutoria, not Skyflare, by Nyx. We see Liscutoria does get out, but bottom 4 was traded for keep. So, all in all, that's pretty good if you are the side of Red Dragons. You have a means to end top. And that's really what you ask for. We can see that Butte Holiday is holding quite high. They can see the walls closing in. The team needs to get out now. There is the abilities being pushed out. Nice double route by the team. That is a protect coming out once again from the end when it does so much, but I don't think you can stay there any longer. Just give that camp. Dying here is going to be worse than anything else. There's the Entomb. We see Liscutoria going in. Butte Holiday also seeing if they can help. Greymane put into the cage right as they try to save him. But no, Pandemonium now in the firing line, just respawned, gets taunted, boots himself back out. Liscutoria gets a big heal off of themselves, gets pulled out. Skyflare looking at it, you don't want to save any series. And Nyx gets found by the Rocket Ride. That is a interesting team fight that happened there. Like, yeah, sure, you got the Cap, you got the Vala, but you lost Nyx, you lost that Stukov, and now you can't quite be as present on the field. You can't quite be as present on the field as before. Without healer, it gets a lot scarier. And actually, if you were Red Dragons, I'd want to run at this camp. I'd want to make sure that they can't get it. You can see Pandemonium has had the same fort. It looks like all of Red has had that same fort. And if you lose heroes here, that is not where you want to be. Your Majesty does use that E. Final Strike finds them actually. Greymane is rooted. They can't go much further, but Liscutoria is in the middle of things. We see that they are going to be holding on, and that is Skyflare being dove on by Butte Holiday, but Rono is on the objective line. We see 1, 2, 3 kills coming out pretty quickly. And Orphea now is stuck in the middle of things. Pandemonium, do not use that. You don't need to use it. You just need to stun. Orphea does get killed, but that's also now 4 down. We're in a position where I'd want Red Dragons to end again. We are once again getting that back and forth, but no, boss is up, and it looks like, no. Actually, we're just going to set up projectors, get objectives channeled first, then start boss. Actually, in fact, if you're Vala, just hit it. Yep. Assist Spring's coming up. We do see it's getting started. And they will be coming back up shortly. That boss does a lot of damage to mind you, so they have to stay a little bit safe. And once again, we're going to be in a position where there's a boss and a Zerg wave heading down the same lane. Zerg wave is slowly building. Boss will be out a little bit before, so you can soften everything up a little by the time everyone gets up. We can see a half of Butte Holiday. They are going to be filling up on that mana. Pandemonium Dizzy starting their own camp. And I was like, Pandemonium's out of why did they back? I forgot it's Junkrat, they don't need it. But no, we see now that there's going to need to be a very stalwart defense here if you are LTK Skyfall. You have a lot to deal with. We can see both teams heading down bottom. Zerg wave coming bottom now, that's why. And Skyfall, Rono, I should say, and Nyx all stepped up. Majesty as well. But now we see the walls closing. Rono gets hit by the stun. We see then rewind used. Your Majesty taking a lot. Actually still gets out though, but it was rewind used by Butte Holiday for that E. We see all these Junkrat traps just lined up, and now this is a Zerg wave plus boss. It's not the easiest to get. We see Orphea has just rejoined the teams now. We see the final strike come out, but it looks like it was cancelled. Short cooldown. I think Stukov barely stopped it for a little bit. Liscutoria going in. We see Butte Holiday is trying to save Avernus. Avernus rolls. Skyflare doesn't get a kill. It was barely too early with that go for a front. We can see now that it is that coming out. Will get cancelled. Silence actually onto it this time. And we do now see the walls are closing. Boss plus Zergwave is on core. Avernus is getting low. Nyx and Torquin having to deal with Liscutoria. That's 2 down now. You can see the Tether onto Torquin. That is 3 down. Nyx trying to best to see what they can do to hold on. But there's just too much in core. That will be the game and the series. Going over to the side of Red Dragons. GG's by both teams. Well played. Whew. I've accidentally clicked the wrong thing. But we do now see that we are at the summary screen here, and I accidentally opened my art program. But no, we see now the summary screen here. Orphea and Vala both doing a lot of damage. Similarly, Junkrat and Greymane doing their share as well. Siege, Leoric definitely did much more of Akira, but Leoric is one of those characters that is very good at doing it. Meanwhile, healing, Anduin did a lot. Once again, they got a lot of value out of that Hollywood Salvation. There wasn't too much to interrupt it once again. I'm going to pop myself in chat and eventually someone may join me. We'll find out soon enough. But we'll quickly have a look at talents before I do anything else. Yeah, there do be some talents. Anything that's standing out to me in particular? No, I did like the auto attack build on Kira. That could do a lot. I do like the Hollywood Salvation from Ando. Once again, that's the thing that stands out. And that Light of Stormwind Hollywood Salvation did so much in that last little bit where it nullified a lot of damage. And actually, a lot of the time, it did nullify a lot of the damage. So let me just go into Div B and see if anyone's willing to join me. At Red Dragons. I remember I can't use the space because otherwise it doesn't show. Interview question mark. And see if anyone's willing to join me in chat. So here's the build, see anyone's interested. Next once again was doing a lot on that Stukov build, already at 30k damage by 16, but wasn't quite able to do the miracles that they were last time around. Right. Yeah, that's really all I have to kind of talk about. Interestingly, at movement speed actually with double W. Maybe typically you see the range or the extra range of a healing increase, but not this time. Other than that, we do see it is all relatively straightforward. I do like No Sanctuary. I do like this, that, and the other, but we can talk about that forever. Everything poppin'. How's it going with you?
Because those are some pretty close games.
I almost forgot to unmute you in stream. I just remembered. So I am joined by Liv Scutoria, the captain of Red Dragons. That was a actually very back and forth series the whole way through.
Yeah, that was really tense.
So map number 1, Cursed Hollow. That was a rough beginning bottom there for Pandemonium, where they were just constantly being ran at bottom. What was your major adjustment to deal with that? Because it did seem to be a little bit of a struggle early on.
So, I know that he did mention that they were focusing him a lot early game. I think he just started playing a bit further back, so that they couldn't rotate on him as hard.
Fair enough. And actually, it was a theme in every single map where the early game was the scary bit for you guys. What was your way to manage that each game? Because, well, we saw early on Skyfall would get something, like either they got, I think, 2 punishes in a row, they got 2 full Zerg waves in a row. What was your way to manage that?
Well, I think it's mostly just holding on until we can get a good fight off, because the later in the game that goes, the more impactful each fight is. So as long as we're staying alive and not losing too much, we can lose a bit early game and still bring it back in the late.
Right, and I'm just going back through Cursed Hollow.
It's also something to keep in mind that they had Varian in the first and third games, so they had a lot of pressure early with early ultimates.
Were you expecting to see the white main of the first game, speaking of which? It's not
No.
a hero often seen.
I was very surprised at that. I was really surprised that it was picked that early, too. Because in my experience, when we've tried to pick her early, she gets countered.
And did that change what you guys wanted to do, that map?
I think so, yeah. If I recall correctly, we're planning on going a bit of a dive comp, and that just doesn't do that well against her because of the what's it called? Rank rate thing on her W.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
The 13, where it's damage reduction.
Yes, that.
The map number 2, Infernal Shrines. Things seem to be started going your way into the late game. You had actually a very good team fight where you managed to pick off 3 or 4 people, but then, well, Nick's had something to say about that. Anything to mention about that, Stukov, because that seemed absolutely terrifying to play into, actually.
So, the second game, I think I was less scared of the Stukov the second game than the first or third, because the big thing that I'm worried about is getting taunted into the silence. But
Mm.
I'm trying to think. The weighted pustules were really big. I know that there was one point where Stukov and Ragnaros like 2v4 to top lane,
Yep.
and that was pretty impressive. Because I was not expecting that at all.
You know, it was actually, I don't think I was expecting, I haven't seen a Stukov do that, because typically you see silence build, but it's actually more a healing start, but then the damage came in the later game.
And those auto attacks hurt real bad.
So knowing how they did in the second game with that Stukov, especially also how they're doing in the early game, Braxis must have been a scarier concept for you guys, because that is a map known to end early if it could. Were you guys afraid going into that? Were you went, maybe we should have chosen a map, or what was the idea?
So, we were real worried when they got the full Zerg wave, right? Because that's usually a bad sign. We got about half of a wave, but then they took it back and they had Prio, and they got a fort off of that, which was not a very good sign. But I think that we had some good rotations and managed to catch them out a few times and brought it back.
Yeah, no, you guys definitely managed that map well. And actually, you managed to sneak a boss at one point. You started a boss literally just after they checked it to went mid. Was that really the intention going, we could see them go, or did it just happen to work out well that way?
I think what it was is we expect them to be here right now. We can probably burn this down before they get over here, and we're relying on the Junkrat mine to confirm it in any case if they did check.
Yeah, no, actually, Pandemonium did very well on that Junkrat. The last game did very well with the vision tools and actually got up there in terms of stack. Is it something that Pandemonium plays often? Because I know last season when we played you guys, it's definitely the Nazebo was one of your most played heroes at the time, and just like, let's not give him that. He looks comfortable there.
I will tell you, he was very excited to have a Junkrat game where he was actually able to pop off. He was talking about it after the game that because he's been practicing Junkrat a lot, and this is like the first occasion where he's really been able to show off what he's doing with it. So he was very happy about that.
I will also ask one more thing. Did you consider banning out the Stukov last map?
We were talking about it. I think that the Zul'jin had to be a ban. We were very worried about that because I know that they had very high win rate on it in previous seasons. We were really debating on the second ban though, but we did eventually decide that we could probably deal with the Stukov.
Yeah, just because that is probably also one of the better Garrosh matches, and you don't really want Axeman, I can't remember his name, Zul'jin, stacking the whole time. But right, anything you want to say, like in your own words now, any shout-outs, floor's yours.
I would like to say, well played to Skyfall. Those were some very close games. I think that everybody had a pretty good showing tonight, and thanks everyone for watching.
Right, I hope you have a good rest of your night, and hopefully any good
Thanks.
cooldown ARAMs. But yeah, have a good rest. Take care.
You too.
Right, so that is going to be it for me. I have been your host, The Lime Bus, for this evening. It was a very good game and well played. Got his heels. Actually very fun to watch you on tank. It's not used to seeing it, but you're also very good on that. Between your healing and your tank, I wish I had kind of your skill port those heroes. But as I said, that will be it for me. I am going to be raiding Plasticine, because it looks like actually the main NGS channel is also done. So Plasticine's doing her community day after the... What's the word I'm looking for? After the charity event had gone so well. So these were some of her goals. But for me, that has been the Lime Bus. I hope everyone has a good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Because time zones are... Or wherever you're on world, because time zones are very weird. I for sure don't know what time it is in America. I could guess maybe it's just about 11 East Coast, but I'm bad at it. But that'll be it for me. So I hope everyone has a good one, and I'll see you all in the Nexus. Take care. Well, at least until I see you next time.